morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good, good.
Good.
How
I'm
about
trying
you?
to figure all this out. It's much earlier there than it is here.
I'm going to see if I can get my sister.
Ooh,
Pat, I think you met her once. Maybe not.
it's possible.
Good morning.
Morning.
How's everyone?
We are here. I was going to say it's a Monday. It's a Tuesday.
Tuesday. It is. It could feel like Monday. You never know.
That's true. Am I supposed to make you host or co-host? I can't remember which one that
I
is.
think co-host.
Okay. This is a learning curve for sure.
Oh yeah, of course. Wow.
I couldn't log in to the Zoom account that it's supposed to be logged into, and everybody else seems to be able to with the same password. And I copy and paste it, and it says wrong word, wrong password, wrong password.
Yeah, I think we're finally out of Mercury retrograde.
So I don't know what I'm gonna do. We'll see.
Mm.
I'll have to figure it out.
I know. I feel like it's like almost everything I do, there's some little hitch technically, and I'm doing a lot of technical stuff right now.
I stepped out of teaching right before everybody went virtual, and so I didn't have to face that learning curve. And I was like, "Oh, I'm so lucky!" And now I'm doing it. So,
Mm-hmm.
you
Wait,
know.
you're a teacher?
I used to be, yeah, I was an elementary school teacher. And
Nice.
then I stopped teaching when COVID hit because I had to be as isolated as my son.
Yes.
And so he's got a lot of medical stuff and was very, very susceptible to getting really, really sick with COVID. And so being an elementary school teacher, right, even though I'm
Good place
vaccinated,
for you to
children
bring
that
home. Yeah, that wouldn't have been good.
yeah. So somebody in the parenting team needed to be isolated with him. So
Yes. Well, mama.
right. And my husband's active duty military. So
Wow.
it would make more sense to organize it that way.
Right. And I don't know if you're planning to stay for the whole meeting. I mean, Paige didn't usually stay for the whole meeting. You're welcome to, but
I'll stay and I'll listen in and do that kind of thing. Yeah.
okay. Hi, Susie.
Hello.
How you doing today?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. I'd give it a 6 out of 10.
All right. 6 out of 10. As when I have a Peloton, and my Peloton teacher says 6 out of 10 is comfortably hard and hardly comfortable. It's like not, not great. It's not horrible, but it's not great.
Yeah, no, that sounds about right then. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're here.
Me too.
Good morning.
Morning.
welcome. It doesn't say your name. It says eClub on your Zoom screen.
I'm changing that right now.
Thank you so much for doing that. And we can see your name. Nice.
Thanks.
Nice to see you.
Thank you. Nice to see you guys.
Welcome back. So good to have you here.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a few weeks of traveling for me.
I was gonna say you're in a new place.
Kansas. It's 12 noon here.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I've been in every time zone and
Ah.
probably 3 of them just since I've hooked up with you guys.
Uh-huh. Yep. How are things in Kansas?
It was 65 yesterday and it's going to be 12 degrees tomorrow.
Whoa.
The weather here is strangely beautiful. That's how I can describe it.
Nice. Laura. Oh, she's putting her ears in. Good morning.
Hello.
How you doing today?
I'm okay. A little raw.
Hmm.
A close family member who's just been put on hospice. So just, it's exhausting grieving. I'm just tired. No.
Older person?
21.
Ugh,
Yeah.
sorry. Glad you're here with us.
Yeah. 11-year battle with cancer. So it's been a lifetime for him. Got cancer at 10 years old. Pretty crazy. So, but it's just amazing. Susie sent a quote out or shared a quote with me at some point recently that I have since shared to the family by Mark Nepo. And the line that comes to mind is, "I am so sad and everything is beautiful." And that's,
Yeah, Mark Nepo, so good.
Yeah, I'm so glad that poem found me from a podcast, and it just has been hitting the spot.
Mm,
The bothness of life.
Indeed. It includes everything, huh? That's our opportunity. To include it all and stay open somehow. Well, I think we'll start, even though I'm imagining there might be a couple more people coming. There are so many, I just want to say, it seems like there are a lot of new members joining Angel Aid, which is so wonderful. And if you're watching this in the replay and you're new, welcome. And I just also want to invite everyone that's here to continue to, extend invitations to other rare mothers that you know. So we can come together and, and hold each other and be held, right? Because it's both. And I can feel how we're here with a lot today. Life is a lot. Life is really a lot. And so that's why it's good to be on a team. And that is our theme for today, is team play. How do we support each other and hold each other? Because when you have your team and your relationship, and first of all, your team playing with yourself, obviously, and right now you're doing that by being here. And your team playing with us by being here. And then we team play with our partners. And one of the things, I'm going to read from my book a little bit. One of the things that really contributes to team play is kindness. Kindness makes everything a little easier. And kindness takes all shapes and forms. And it also takes intentionality. Kindness is a muscle. It's like working out. It's like, oh, how kind can I be? Because when I'm depleted, when I'm grieving, when I'm just stretched to my edges, I have to actually make an effort to be kind, you know? And yeah, let's see. Yeah, I think I will share this. I had a good friend visiting. He was here watching my daughter and our dog over the weekend. I was out of town. And he's an older Black gentleman. And he went into our local health food store. And he wasn't wearing his mask correctly, which I don't agree with, but he wasn't. And twice, people in the store came up to him like, wow, really harsh, really, really harsh. And kindness was missing. And so today I went into the health food store this morning. And I just said, wow, I went to the management and I just said, hey, this really didn't sit well with me. And it was, I understand because it's, he's not following the rule and that's important to do. And at the same time, there's a way to communicate. And so kindness was lacking in the way that they communicated with him. And I also was holding, oh, this is also racial. I felt, because this is where I live in Marin County is very white. And I thought if I were in there and I had my mask like this, they know me in there. I wonder if someone would just come at me. And I almost did it as an experiment. Like, what would that be like? But I went up to the person, the checker, and she was not open. She was like, they have 5 people out, tons of COVID, and they get a lot of exposure. And so I like backed down and just was like, okay, I really validated her. So, it takes a lot of intentionality to be kind. And also I feel like this situation with COVID is real. And it is touching us in our, in so many ways, and it's touching us in our primal fear for good reason, especially as we're rare parents or people who have a rare disease. So when there's fear operating, it's harder to be kind because we're not regulated, right? We're just in a nervous system activation. So kindness takes practice, especially when we're like, huh. And I came in, and it's true, I wasn't totally chill because I was upset that my friend wasn't treated well. Twice, guy chased him out of the store and got up in his face. And yeah. So be kind. Be kind in your relationship. Be kind as you move through the world. And I feel like even more in this time that we're in of 2 years of a plague, we really need to be kind to ourselves and in our families and as we move through the world. So real life creeps in. So I'll read a little bit and then we'll meditate. Be kind. Refraining from being critical gives you a chance to be kind and appreciate your partner, which creates connection and builds trust. As UCLA multi-championship coach John Wooden said, kindness makes for much better teamwork. So kindness makes for much better teamwork. So you can just get comfortable. Hi, Meg. Nice to see you. I saw you come in. Welcome. All right. So just breathing into your heart. And maybe breathing, if you can, in a way that is a long, deep, slow breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. As you turn toward your breath, Let's begin this meditation by offering some kindness to ourselves, kindness and appreciation for being here together in this moment. Recognizing that it is an act of kindness to participate in this workshop, to carve this time out for yourself, even when you're not feeling 100%, even when your day might be a 6 out of 10. Allow your attention to sink in and down. You might even rest into the silent spaces, into the pauses between my words. And what if you take a breath and exhale? Exhale into the space, being gentle and kind with yourself. Just noticing what it feels like to practice kindness with yourself. Notice what it feels like in your body and your awareness. To practice kindness. What if every breath is an offering? Just like you might make an offering at your altar or in church or a temple. The way in India and Thailand, they might scatter flowers at the feet of the deities. What if you gently scatter some soft rose petals at your own feet, at the doorway to your heart? Just notice how your heart responds. Perhaps it begins to soften. breathing really gently. And it doesn't matter if your mind wanders. Gently and with kindness, you can escort it back to this breath. No judgment. How kind can you be with yourself in this moment? Imagining what it might be like to offer this flavor of kindness to your partner, to your husband, to your child or children. How might that strengthen and build your team? Taking a few more breaths and maybe placing your hands on your heart, just thanking yourself, thanking your heart, and being grateful for even a moment where the mind was quiet. And then as you're ready, let's just take a few minutes to reflect on how kindness informs our relating, how kindness builds your team. How does kindness build your team? So really looking at like, how does kindness build my team? And then what am I doing that is more of a tear down, is more of it takes away rather than builds. So just taking a few minutes and we'll journal and then we'll come back and we'll share. reflecting on how kindness informs building our team and how not being kind creates, diminishes the feeling of being on a team. And what do you do to build your team? Okay, so just finishing up, and I'd love to hear from y'all. Tell me about how you practice kindness and how does kindness build your team in a practical way? And what are you doing that's kind of ebbing away at the feeling of being on a harmonious team? Because we're all doing things until we don't catch ourselves. And you can also talk about anything that's moving in you, of course. What's happening, ladies?
I'll start.
Great,
Uh,
thank you.
Just you kind of teaching me how to meditate has made a change in my life. And I don't like meditating on Zoom. It's difficult and my mind wanders. And it went to Peru this time because as you were speaking, I was thinking of this. I hiked through Peru in the Middle East, where the guide was from Jerusalem, and he tried to stop 5 times a day to pray and meditate. But it's difficult as you're hiking through. We went on a 5-day hike to Petra, and I had the chance to talk to him alone. He spoke really good English. And he said a lot of the things you were saying. It's a way to reconnect. If I'm thinking bad thoughts, or someone on our team is slower, he says it's a way for me to come back and appreciate things, maybe even appreciate something in that person that has nothing to do with how slow they're going. And he says he knows he falls short, so he knows he's just human, but that is his prayer time with his higher power. I don't know if he called it God or what, but and he says it really changes his attitude. So that's where my mind went. But I'm also thinking, this, just you teaching me to get away and to meditate helps get me out of those bad thoughts. My husband and I have been together for the past 32 days nonstop. He quit his job in Pasco. Well, he got transferred to Wichita. And I mean, I've gone from Alaska to Hawaii to Oregon to Pasco, and now here in the past 2.5 years. And it's a great job, but we were both a little stressed during those 32 days because he's with me and I'm with him. And I know he doesn't like to talk. He knows I talk a lot, and he doesn't want to hear a lot of the chitter chatter. Yesterday he went to work, and it was his first day at work. He was gone for 14 hours. It was a big meet and greet time. He met a lot of the people on Zoom, a lot in person. He got to go see the project. He's the overseer of this water treatment plant. And I knew he was meeting so many people, and I just can't wait to talk to him and find out what all these things were. And he got home and I said, I like to talk. And I realized today that I like to talk about as much as that you don't like to talk. and you don't even want to listen about as much as I want to talk. So we'll just talk as much as you want to tonight. And that just like it changed him. It made him feel really comfortable. And I said, I made dinner. And then we started talking about dinner, nothing deep or anything, you know, here's the enchiladas and just enjoy and played cribbage and didn't even talk about his day. And I can't let that bother me. I want him to talk to me about his day, but it made me feel better that I really did meditate on it beforehand and get myself in the right place, because he doesn't want to get accosted when he gets home from a 14-hour day at work. And it just changed me. And I mean, all this really to say that I'm learning how to meditate, and you don't even have to call it meditation, but just to get away and change your thoughts, because that's one thing we can control is what we're thinking, and to change that, you know, put a smile on, even if you don't feel like smiling, that changes me inside. So thank you.
Oh, that's good news, Julie. And that's so deeply, I mean, really, that's a great example of being really kind, being mindful. How might you bridge mindfulness with kindness? So here I'm slowed down, I'm meditating, praying, call it what you will. And then I'm aware my husband's been out for 14 hours interacting. He doesn't really like to talk. So it's an act of kindness and generosity to just give him space, you know, and to be accepting. So yeah, how beautiful. And also that the meditation gave you the, increased your bandwidth. And this is not to say that we consistently put what we need aside, right? It's not about that I'm always going to adapt to what the other person needs. And if I want to have harmony, I need to realize what we're back to capacity, right? It's like, he doesn't have capacity to chat with me right now. He just needs space. So I love that. And I love that you're practicing training your mind.
Thank you. He also knew I had 2 Zoom meetings today. So he said, well, you got your ladies you're going to talk to tomorrow, right? That's what he said yesterday. And he said, that's tomorrow, right?
That's great. Well,
I could get the interaction with someone.
well, that was also him being kind, checking. So you're going to get what you need, honey?
Absolutely.
Beautiful. Thank you.
I'm glad you said what you had said about we can't just give, we have to take care of ourselves too. Because as you were sharing that story, Julie, I was thinking, well, shit, I'm your husband. Like, I love to talk. I'm a huge extrovert, but I am so tired at the end of every day and that's all I do all day is talk, that I don't want to talk. And I can tell, to your point, my husband is in your shoes. Like, he just wants to connect with me. And I struggle with this balance of the kindness and giving him that space and attention, and me just wanting to, you know, crawl into bed and go to, you know, chill for a little bit. It's hard.
How do you work with that then?
Right now, I am fulfilling my own needs right now,
Good.
but I know that that's taking a toll.
And are you communicating, right? Because this is also kindness, is communicating, hey, I'm at my limit and this is what I need. And I realize that you would like to connect with me. I just can't do it right now. Yeah, some kind of.
Yeah, I'm pretty good about telling you how I feel. It's just then changing my behavior. I think, like many of us, is hard. And that he says, okay, so when will we then? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. And so much of it is situational. You know, I'm sure like many of you, like, we can't find care for our daughter right now. It's just me and my husband all the time. And Dylan is so active and destructive when she's bored that we don't get downtime. So his point is accurate. And when will we? And I don't know if it's fair to say, like, we're just going to have to kind of keep surviving until we can get a little bit of help.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely stretching everyone. And I would really suggest, like, because it sounds like your husband really needs that connection. and he's hearing you. And we can only, those of us who need more connection can only kind of go without for so long. And that's the whole idea of bridging to, you know, well, because if he's going when, and you're like, I don't know, that he's going to be like, yeah, it's, you know, it's disturbing. So it's almost like just saying, you know, just creating touch points that work for you, and that will, because that will strengthen the team, because people can only handle so much of, I don't know when, if they're, you know, perhaps have that need for more connection. And we're in tough times in this world, on top of everything, on top of everyone's personal situations. We have the world situation. So I'm glad you're communicating. That's huge. Communication is kindness.
So Brene taught me, clear is kind, unclear is unkind.
Nice.
Never forget that. I use that as my leadership. Like that's how I lead people, is with lots and lots of clarity. Doesn't always feel good, but it's clear.
Beautiful.
It's funny, these stories, I was thinking about the idea of boundaries actually came up in my thought, and thinking of like respecting someone's boundaries, like allowing them to be kind to themselves, right? Like when someone asks for something or says that they can't do something, like me not pushing that or questioning that is like allowing them to be kind to themselves. And then also being kind to yourself is setting those boundaries and having a clear, you know, something clear to communicate. But I hadn't really thought about kindness as almost as a boundary, and allowing other people to be kind to themselves, and what a gift that can be to the other person as well, is to like respect what they need to do to be kind to themselves.
Like,
Oh, over the years, I formed the habit of responding to that question, how are you? By exclaiming, great, I'm great. Because that ended the conversation. If there was any hesitation or indication that I wasn't great, then I had to give a further explanation. So my daughter has for decades seen me respond to that question by saying, great, but she would know that I wasn't that great. And what you've been saying about communication being a part of kindness, I have begun to not say great, because my team, which Crystal is part of my team, and she needs more input and communication in order to deal with her father. And so my explanations of how I'm doing, my communication of how it's affecting me, helps her to understand her father better, and helps our team to thrive. So I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
yeah. How are you? Great. How are you? Fine.
Fine, it's the one.
It's really, in a sense, though, I love that you're changing that, Phyllis, because it's not really kind, because you're not telling the truth. Now, of course, we can't go into the depths of how we're actually doing with everyone, right? It's to be discerning in that, and with your close people, and to have a good team, you have to be able to really be honest with each other. For me,
But-
honesty is kindness.
But in my mind, when I said I'm great, I was telling myself, I'm great. I'm doing a great job. I'm in control of the situation. And so to me, I wasn't not being honest.
Mhm.
I'm great. But it really was a conversation stopper.
Right,
And I didn't realize that until
right.
we had this meeting, and I don't say that anymore. Why don't I say that anymore? And it's because the team needs to know what's going on. Yeah.
True. Someone can't help or show up if you just say everything's great. And I want to also acknowledge you, Phyllis, for saying, because I'm great. And then you elaborated and said, I'm doing a great job. That's actually true. You felt like I'm doing a great job, which there's a nuance between I'm doing a great job and I'm great. Everything's great. Right. That's kind. I'm doing a great job. That's very building. You're building yourself up. You're acknowledging yourself for navigating everything you're navigating with your husband, in this case. So I would keep going with, I'm doing a great job. That's very kind. The acknowledgement is very kind. And then going both ways. And you're doing a great job. Thank you for being on my team. That is building the team. So yeah, so many nuances to communicating and having relationships. And anyone's free to jump in. You all have great input. So jump in anytime.
I was just going to say, I love that transition to I'm doing a great job, because that allows you to also have feelings about doing a great job. Like, you can be doing a great job and be exhausted. You can be doing a great job and also be having a great day, but like, it allows for more bothness of life. You don't have to be all one or all the other.
Absolutely. And I think as we're mothers, it's so important that you recognize that you're doing a great job, even when things are not going well and your child is still struggling. The two we need to decouple the two and really acknowledge yourself for doing a great job, even when their health isn't what you would like it to be. Laura?
So I am having a lot of thoughts. I use the word or the saying, I'm fine. Probably too often in response to my husband asking me how I'm doing. And it's definitely like, I use it as like a wall. I'm fine. And I can see he's hurt on the other side of it. And I can see and I think I have not until this moment, realized that that is unkind. So that's a really important reflection. I guess I am curious, what would correct language be if I'm not in a space where I can tell him, it's like, I guess I just need to say, I'm processing something right now for myself and I need some more time. And it's not about you, because I think we're often, again, spending way too much time in one house together and always a little bit, more often than we used to, concerned that we've hurt the other unintentionally. So sorry, I'm so tired and at my end today.
I'll share a story about my husband and I that might give some insight to something. We have separate beds because I'm such a light sleeper that if he puts his hand on my shoulder, I wake up. And when he gets in bed with me to go to sleep, that's a cuddly, nice, warm feeling. But I don't stay there because I know if I try to sleep next to him, his movements will wake me up and then I don't get my 8 hours of sleep, which I have to have in order to function all day. It only happens 4 hours at a time, but I have to have a total of 8. So he said to me yesterday, "What happened last night? I came and got in your bed and you got up and left. And then when I got up to go to the bathroom, I saw you in my bed. And when I went to lay down, you got up and left." And the kind thing that I did was explain to him that I sleep so lightly. And I was 20 years with my third husband. And I explained to Richard that we slept back to back. We didn't cuddle up or hug or anything like that because I'm such a light sleeper. And he was too, in fact, that we just didn't sleep that way. And he really appreciated me sharing that information, that I was a light sleeper. And the reason I get up and go in the other room is to get my 4 or 8 hours sleep. And even sharing the story about my other husband. That's part of, he's part of my team. Crystal and he are team members taking care of an old lady. And he and Crystal and I are team members taking care of an old man. So communication is really key to the kindness thing. And I think that you'll figure it out because you always do. You know when to talk and what to say. And we get a lot of help on that. So
Laura,
I love you and I encourage you to keep trying because it'll come about. It'll work.
Thank you, Phyllis.
Laura, I find that when I'm stressed, I'm not a very nice person, and very control and not patient with anyone around me. And I think what Matt and I have figured out, I over communicate, as I mentioned, is I just tell him, this has nothing to do with you. I just had a bad conversation at work and I'm frustrated and I just need a minute. Or we lost another BPAN kid, and it's like I am processing this. Or one of my employees, just his son had his first big seizure yesterday, and it brought me right back to those early days with Dylan and how scary they were. And I wasn't a nice person yesterday, but I don't know. I think for us, it's been the just saying it, and because he has bad days too. And for me, the hard part is then being kind to him when he has a bad day and says, it's not you, it's me, I need a minute, and giving each other space. But I think the other thing is just, it's okay to have bad days. And that has helped me these last 2 years, is that some days are just bad days and I can't put my finger on it. Nothing happened. I'm just not in a great mind space. And I have to, for me, it's me giving me permission that I can have a bad day. That's the hardest part. It's not him, it's me saying like, I am just not going to be at my best today, and being okay with that.
I was thinking the same thing, how much like being kind to yourself in those moments, because like letting you not know the words, like it's okay to not have the words, but knowing that, anything you come up with, if you decide you don't want to say I'm fine, anything you come up with is great progress, call it a win. But how much like kindness we need for ourselves, that we are human and we're allowed to have bad days. I think for like, even Padma just saying earlier, like life is just a lot. And I think I'm getting that reminder of just like, of course it's hard. Like life, being human is hard. Being alive is just a lot. And just recognizing that like, you're not doing it wrong, right? Like just giving yourself that, like, you're not doing it wrong. It's just hard. And anything you can say to yourself or to your husband is is good, or is the best you can do.
Mhm. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, these are all very good examples of, just different ways of, I think Laura also, being that Kristen Neff, right? Practicing self-compassion and then doing what was sometimes called accurate reporting, right? Different people have, explained it in different ways, like, and use it, you did, right? Like, how are you? I'm really overwhelmed. I'm at my capacity and I'm still processing, and that's all I have. I'll come back. And I think that really, it's also a really good practice, as we know, not to take things personally. The fact that someone else is challenged and having a mood is not personal. And I also want to go back to self-compassion, right? And I repeat this because it's such a powerful phrase. My feelings make sense. Like, I'm experiencing what I'm experiencing. My feelings make sense. And if we can live with that, I feel like in a team, especially to bridge back to that, if I know my feelings make sense, then I know your feelings make sense. And they have nothing to do with me. Even if I said something, you still are having your feelings, just like how I communicated to this woman in the store this morning. She didn't like it. She was having her feelings. And I quickly was like, oh, she is having her feelings and they have nothing to do with me. She's been stacked up 2 years of pandemic, running a store with masks and everybody getting sick and all of that. So so self-compassion, my feelings make sense. So your feelings make sense. And just being willing. And I think also, as Susie said, it's like, you do your best. You're like even if, and sometimes I'll close my eyes, especially like with my teenager, with our kids when they're challenging us, like, okay, that's enough. Like, I can't do any more. If her voice is staccato and intense and hormonal, which it is often. So, so self-compassion and accurate reporting, and even bring that out as a structure that we can share in our relationship. So let's practice accurate reporting together. And this is what it might look like for me in a given moment. Sometimes I could be super clear. I know exactly what's going on. And other times I don't. I'm just like, I'm maxed. That's what's going on. I'm maxed. Can't engage right now. And I think that's a lot, as some of you mentioned, it's like permission to be where you are, which is a very compassionate and kind way of being. And when I'm being that way with myself, I'm much more likely to be that way with the people on my team, with the people in my world. So.
Laura, do you need oxygen? Oxygen? Have you been exercising at all, or swimming, or bicycle riding?
Yeah, I'm just really sleep deprived. I haven't slept well the last couple
That's
months.
what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. And you haven't been able to go running with those, like all that snow on the ground?
Yeah, no. But thank goodness for my Peloton.
It works.
I'm about to go do the Encanto ride right after speaking with y'all. So
Nice.
I'll be fine in 35 minutes.
Well,
You need a stress reliever. The M&M ride is pretty good too. A very different ride.
A little more angry, maybe. That could be good right now, actually. I think that's like the primary emotion that when I say I'm fine, I'm saying. Like, it's a fuck you. Sorry, this is being recorded.
That's okay.
But I'm like, ooh, that's really good to know that I'm actually like, I think sometimes being intentionally mean when I say I'm fine. And that's really important realization, because now I can improve.
And just to
where I'm not a mean person.
Not a mean person. And it's true, because when you're aware, you'll have more agency and you can respond rather than react. I'm fine is like it's a boundary. It's kind of a harsh boundary. It's like it's a block. And so you can even acknowledge that to your husband. You can say, you know what? I realize that when I say I'm fine sometimes, I'm really saying, you know,
Yeah, I need some space.
Or
yeah,
why is it okay to say I'm fine, but not okay to say I'm angry? You know, like what just, you know, like what is that telling me about where I'm at? Like what attention does that need? Like, is it kinder to just say I'm angry or not? Or, you know, that I'm curious.
I would say it is. Might as well be accurate, you know, and if I'm angry, because anger is a signal that something needs to shift either internally or on the outside. Anger is like I'm sitting on pokey things and I'm getting angry, and then either I get up and I get to sit somewhere else, or, you know, what do I do to resolve that situation? I don't push you away. I'm like, okay, I'm angry. Yeah, this is back to my feelings make sense. I'm having a feeling. And also, I just want to say feelings are temporary. Feelings are limited. Sometimes, especially grief, you know, can be one of those feelings that feels like it's just never going to end. And I just want to say that feelings are limited. I've never known a feeling that didn't have an end.
Yeah, for me, it's the next day. It's like, I just know tomorrow I'm going to wake up and feel differently, because I tried to be intentional about that in the last couple of years. On those really bad days, is the next one better? And it often is. And I remind myself of that. I want to respond though to the, you know, can you just say I'm angry? And I think the reason I don't, at least, is because I don't want to engage in the conversation. And if I tell you I'm angry, it means I'm going to have to explain why. And I'm not in a mental place to get through this conversation. And I think it's one of my friends taught me a phrase of, I'm having a reaction. And I really like it, because it's not good. It's not bad. I'm reacting. I need a minute. Let me react.
Yep.
But I kind of flipping this conversation, I actually think when I say I'm fine, I think I'm being kind to the other person, because I'm not bringing them into my crap. Like, my friend circle has gotten so small, and I reflect on that and internalize it, which is probably not appropriate, but I internalize it thinking like, it's just because my life is so heavy. Like, you never talk to me and everything is super great. It's I'm dealing with this seizure or this thing or that thing, and it's just, my life is very heavy. And so I respond to people with, I'm fine. And then they keep pressing, and it's like hard to find that balance between like one word answer and, like, to your point, giving the whole story of here's all the things that have happened, because it feels like you're not going to understand me unless I give you the context. I don't know. It's fine as a mechanism that I've grown very accustomed to using.
Yeah, it's like a self-protective mechanism. And I mean, I just want to say, sometimes if one of these friends that, because people often, they ask and they don't really want to know the answer. It's sort of just this habit we've gotten into. How are you? Fine. Something you could say is, if you're connected enough to the person, certainly in your relationship, how are you? And then you might say, I'm curious. Do you actually have space to know? Do you actually have space to listen? Like, really just coming from a place of kindness and curiosity, like, not, just asking, because otherwise, and that's interrupting this sort of mechanical, how are you fine thing that we have adopted here in North America, maybe in other places. I mean, in some places, I don't know if y'all have traveled in the world, but in some places, like I was in Africa many years ago, West Africa, and you say, how are you? And you better have like 15 minutes to hear about all the members of their family and what's going on, which is a different approach. So, wow, how rich. So what are we going to practice this week? What are you taking from this? What is a nugget how can you apply just one small element of our conversation today? What will you practice? What will you implement?
I'm going to start saying I'm having a reaction, and I think Dave's going to think it's hilarious.
Because I'd like to see this happen.
And set him up, set Dave up. Say, Dave, I learned something in my workshop today, and I'm just letting you know, this is something I'm going to go with.
He's going to be like, do you have a rash? Like, is this a drug reaction?
No, but it feels like that.
That's great.
Are you okay, Laura?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just exhausted.
Yeah. Sleep is coming. What else are we going to practice?
I'm going to practice being aware when I say fine. Like, I don't know that I'm going to change anything right now. I think this conversation is going to make me aware of when I'm doing it for myself or for someone else. And to your point, for the right people, say, do you want to know? And then maybe I'll find myself with more friends. It's so embarrassing to be like, and like, I don't have friends, but it's just so hard.
I think, Meg, I really resonate with that, almost like the feeling of responsibility of what I give to you or like what I say. And not that we don't have responsibility, but I think what I'm taking away with is the, like, you get to have your like reactions and I get to have mine, and neither of us are like responsible. We can make that connection, but like I can have a bad day and you have no responsibility. And you, like my husband, can have a bad day, and allowing myself to say, I have no responsibility for that. That's just a bad day, right? If he asks me for something or needs something, then I have the opportunity, but just kind of that, like, your feelings make sense. They're yours. I'm going to let you deal with them. Let me know if you need anything, you know, and I have mine, and just letting them be their own little islands until they need to connect.
And I have room. I have room. I'm neutral. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. I have all the space in the world for your feelings. And I'm not taking them on, and I'm not managing them, because when I go over to your space and I'm like, oh, let me make your feelings go away, they have a name for that. You know, it's like, stay in your lane, just stay in your lane and let people have their feelings, because feelings are transient. They will pass. Great. What else?
I'm going to practice allowing myself to have those feelings. I tend to block them and just try to not give myself that right to even have the feeling that I'm being neglected. But I'm going to try that and see how that goes. The reaction thing, I grew up with, there was three of us young girls in the home, and a mother who, whenever she said I'm having a reaction, we knew that meant grab a candy bar. She was very diabetic and
Oh, okay.
sugar. So that's the first thing that came to mind. I love that. I probably won't practice that one.
That's good. Yeah, allow yourself to have your feelings, please. Please let yourself have your feelings. Otherwise, they get bottled up and we get frustrated and we get resentful, or we get sick because we're just like stacking all the stuff up. We get stomach aches, we get headaches, we get whatever might want to manifest. Yeah. Phyllis, what are you going to practice this week?
I don't know. I was thinking of Erin, because Erin is a rare mom. And now she's our new coordinator. And I think that she's a rare mom, and you might want to share sometimes. Paige did share sometimes.
Yeah.
So don't feel like you have to go away.
Oh, absolutely. You're welcome to join our conversation, Erin, of course.
And you know what I'm going to practice this week is just remembering you girls' names and faces, because I see so many girls, but you're part of my little community, and I'm so grateful for you. So that's what I'm going to connect, a face with the name.
And because we're on your team, Phyllis, and we're so glad you're on our team.
Yes.
Super awesome.
Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you so much for being here. And Erin, do you have any announcements or anything you wanted to make?
I don't. I'm learning how to do all of this and access all of this. So I will probably just be trying to conquer the learning curves.
Well, you're doing great, and we're glad you're here. And
Thank you.
I look forward to seeing you all next week, and please communicate with each other, communicate with me. This is a community and we're here to engage and support one another. All right. Big love. See you soon.
See you soon.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.